What's up, everybody? I interrupted the scheduled video that was supposed to come out today because I wanted to shoot this instead, but maybe I should probably pull over. This is not really safe, but make sure you stay tuned. Welcome back. I had to pull over because I was gonna get myself killed, and that's not worth it. But I did need to do this video from the road because I felt like I needed to do a follow up to the video we did last week, and so I wanted this video to be as close to last week's video as possible. But I felt that while I'm on the road. I just did a motivational talk here in Norfolk, Nebraska, and tonight I fly into Calgary because I've got a couple of motivational talks and a comedy show as well in Canada, and so I got to do it on the road. And this is a follow-up, as I mentioned, to the video from last week, but it's much more than that. We're going to go into a lot of depth. And one of the reasons is not only am I going to go into depth, but I'm going to do this video just like I'm talking to you. I'm not going to put normally I have videos that go over and I'm just voicing over, or images, and I love those type of videos. They're very entertaining, but sometimes for some audiences they're very distracting. So, and if you like this type of video, let me know in the comments so that I can do occasionally this type of video as well in addition to the others. But let's get started. Two caveats before I get started. The first of which is that I'm going to be telling you some allegories and stories, and it'll at times seem like I'm going around the elbow to get to the butthole. But just be patient with me. I promise that there's a lot of value in this video, and that if you apply it, it could possibly be life-changing for you. The second caveat is that when it comes to happiness, or really ultimately anything that you could be successful at, a lot of people fail. And the reason they fail is because they confuse simple with easy. Yeah, at times this video will even seem cliche because that's how simple some of these things that I'll be telling you is. But even though it's simple, don't make the mistake of thinking it is easy. We're talking about changing something that you've been doing for 20, 30, 40 years. And that change, again, being changing your mind, changing literally your brain. And so it's very, very, very hard. But anyhow, we'll start with our first didactic story. This story I heard first time when I used to take martial arts, back before I was a fat dad. But I heard this story about these two students who were very frustrated with their master because he was very wise, but their impression of him was that he always knew it all. And so they wanted to bring him some humbleness, and they conspired to catch a butterfly and approach the master and ask the master if the butterfly in their hands was alive or dead. And if the master said that the butterfly was alive, they would crush it and kill it. But if the master said that the butterfly was dead, they would set it free. In either case, proving the master that he wasn't as smart as he thought he was. And so they catch the butterfly, they set the intention, they approach the master and they say, "Master, I have a butterfly in my hands. Is it alive or dead?" And the master answers, "It's in your hands." Yeah, it's in my hands. "But is it alive or dead?" And the master replies again, "It's in your hands." Now the takeaway from this story, although it may seem like a banal platitude, is that, look, in this happiness endeavor, the responsibility is literally in your hands. And this isn't hyperbole or some exaggerated metaphor. Like, this is backed by science. Many organizations that with great reputations have done studies among thousands of groups over the last 70 years regarding this subject. One that I want to go over is one that took place in 2009 with Harvard, where Harvard separated two groups of people. The first group of people had seemingly a proclivity for always being negative, and they suffered from anxiety, and they struggled with happiness, while the other one seemed to have a predisposition for happiness. But when they studied a little closer the two groups, they found that this latter group had a belief system that they subscribed to, that they were in control of their happiness. If there was anything that they can control, it would be their happiness. And this is very revealing to some people, because as we talked in the last video, what I did was I compared the two types of thinking with poverty thinking or thinking in wealth, loosely based off of a Dave Chappelle joke that he did in one of the most recent specials. And poverty thinking is something that you find a lot. We all know this person or these people. They typically use words like he, she, they, them to explain their circumstances. And what's sad is that you'll try to help them sometimes, and you'll suggest, well, you know, I mean, maybe you should get therapy. Therapy is important for people. Or how about picking up exercise, or, you know, at least cardio. Cardio has so much benefits for happiness. Meditation, reading a book, knowledge, and you'll find that they won't. I mean, there are hundreds of books on happiness and mental health, and they won't do anything to help themselves, but it's because they're thinking like they're poor. And I invite you to stop thinking like you're a victim and start thinking like you're a victor. In other words, change from being a thermometer to a thermostat. A thermostat sets the room, sets the temperature for the room, but a thermometer only states the temperature. We all know these people. They're the people that they blame their unhappiness because of some circumstance that happened to them, or their job, or their ex, or maybe their current partner, and they won't do much to help themselves. And arguably, they can't help it. But we can take that step by raising our mentality, by raising our self-worth. And just to be clear, I'm not saying that you can raise your self-worth with being intelligent, because if you think that you can raise your self-worth with intelligence, you'll always feel dumb. If you think that you can raise your self-worth by being prettier or skinnier, you'll always feel fat. You'll always feel not pretty enough. You'll feel ugly. So it's more about here, about the lemon juice, which we'll talk more about the lemon juice and that allegory on another talk. But it's about improving, again, how you feel in here. And once you do that, and what we talked about this in the last video, it's very similar to you owning a home and you rent the home out to somebody, but then you make improvements to the home, and because of the economy, or because you need money, or just because the simple fact that your home is much better now, you approach the tenants and you ask them that on the next lease renewal that they're going to need to pay XYZ more in rent. And they have the choice, and many times they'll say yes because they see the value. And maybe in the case, what often happens with tenants that are in a home that's being improved, they make certain improvements just emotionally. They feel better, and they make certain improvements themselves naturally. And so they say, yeah, we'll be in, and they give you the thumb. But maybe they don't want to pay extra rent, and they give you the other finger, not the index. And in that latter example, oftentimes they'll start to do math, or they'll find out what real estate goes for in that area, and maybe they decide they really want to stay in the area. In other words, they find value in that current home, and they can change their mind. And if they do change their mind, they will come up with the money to stay in your home. And that's how you get rid of toxic people. First off, there's no such thing as toxic videos. That's just something that I said because it's marketable and people understand what it's like to have somebody who you feel is taking your happiness away. But we'll tackle that subject in another video. But getting rid of people that no longer serve you is not done by evicting them. It's done by you changing you. In other words, once you raise your self-worth, let's say for this hypothetical that your new self-worth is you no longer want to be an unhappy person. You no longer want to be angry, let's say, for example. So you first off, once you raise this, then everyone around you will also raise their self-worth just naturally. No different than if you improve a home, then many other neighbors will make improvements on their homes, and the neighborhood collectively goes up in value as well. And think of this as like you going back to Deborah and sharing a book that you're reading, and then she wants to read the book too, and now she gets wealth in knowledge as well. Or you're working out with John, and both of you guys are feeling better, and again, so collectively. But in situations where some people have not raised their value, once you tell them, no, this is my new price, so this is a boundary, right? This is my new price. I no longer accept anything below this price. I no longer accept that. This is me, okay? If they love you, if they want to stay in your house, in your circle of friends, if they want to stay in your life, they will come up with that value. They will upgrade their own lives. And if they don't value you enough, then they'll leave. And many times they just leave subconsciously. They just, life gets in the way, and sometimes they'll say, oh, I lost touch with Zenith, but they won't even realize that the real reason they left is because you're not that person anymore that clicks with them. They can't explain why they went out of your life. And good riddance. I mean, if you're trying to make a new life and somebody's holding you back, then cut the weight. And maybe good luck to them, and maybe they'll find another group of friends, and maybe they'll raise their value over there, and maybe they'll wander back in your life. But that's neither here nor there. The point is that you upgrade yourself, and then people who want to stay in your life, people that actually value you, like the example of the tenants that found value in the home, they will come up with that. And looking at it through that perspective, not only is it self-serving to raise your self-worth, but it's also a form of philanthropy. And again, it's not to focus whether people are bad or good or getting rid of people. People come in and out of your life. And every one of those people, good or bad, people that build you up or break you down or leave you or stay with you, they all take their role in helping you become who you're meant to be. And who you're meant to be is somebody happy. I can't tell you how many people I've run into, and they're especially young people. They're going through school, and they don't really know what the world expects of them, or they want to be what they feel like the world needs. But what they should be is happy, because what the world actually needs is more happy people. And that's something that we should never give up on. Thanks for watching.
Comment, like, and subscribe.